launch I've ever seen in my life. It's like we're going to 5 different platforms at once. Oh, hey, we're live. Hey, everybody. Let's do a minute to win it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tom, what do you got?
I think you're right, guys. We got to do a minute to win it. We'll let the stream get going. No one's even watching right now. Yeah. It's a rare chance that someone's coming back to watch the beginning of this. So this is really no one could hear. We could just make fart noises in unison. I'll start. Sam, you started making a fart noise right after me. Okay. Mark, you make a fart noise right after me, and we're going to do a little harmony of fart noises, okay? I'm going to go a little high-pitched. Oh, no. Sam, I want you low-pitched. And Mark, I want you ultra low-pitched. All right, here we go. And that is farting with a comic book look for Minute to Win It. Don, I know that's what you want.
What a minute to win it.
I know when you're eating, that is what you want to hear, is just a bunch of, dudes making fart noises together. It was fun when we were 6. It was fun when we were 14, and it's fun now.
That was fantastic.
It never got old.
Derek's checking in with us, bro.
Yes. We tuned in right when that fart started. All right. Minute to Win It's over. We have a live viewer. No more shenanigans.
Yeah, that's right.
Let's get it.
Get down to business.
Yes. Oh man. All right. Well, that is one way to open the episode. With that might be one for the books. But we'll go ahead and get this episode rocking and rolling here.
It fucking stinks in this live stream now. Ew. I'm sorry.
I wish I had like an overlay I could do right now, but I don't have one prepared, and I totally should. I'm gonna keep that in mind for future episodes.
Okay.
All right.
No, we're never doing this again. That was terrible. Sorry.
Okay. I'll still keep one on hand just in case. Just in case Sam says something like about Loki. But anyways. Hey everybody, it's a comic book club. It's your boy John on Demand, aka the comic book librarian of sorts. Glasses, looking good. And rocking the Broken TV t-shirt tonight. So, joined by co-host extraordinaire, Midwest Highlander, there can only be one. Recently getting a new AKA is Mr. Mark here, brother from another mother, great from another state, and Xavier from another state, Professor Xavier. Right. That's right, comic book Buddha. And of course, you guys, the newest hot rod on the comic book look lot is Sam, aka @Noleman12 on the TikToks with his comic book reviews. We are collectively quite the team. A comic book look, proudly sponsored by Rainbow Comics. If you're in the Sioux Falls area, 42nd Minnesota Avenue, come and say howdy, preferably Wednesday through Saturday, so you can see these beautiful mugs of Sam and I. And if you're in the Lincoln, Nebraska area, stop by. I saw Mike over here in the comments wall. Oh, Sarge, we miss you. We miss you. But if you're in the Lincoln, Nebraska area, say hi to Taylor and team as well. Great people down there ready to help you out with those comic book needs. October 18th, 2023. We have a big what if question tonight, too, that carried over from the Rainbow live stream today that we'll be solving later today. TBD on that. And I don't even know the answer. I think it's a yes, but we'll find out.
Mark will know. We'll see.
Mark definitely knows. Boys, how are we? Minus that amazing opener. I'm sure you're more relieved. Truly.
I just have less tension all of a sudden. I feel good.
Oh no.
I'm good, John. I'm really good, man. How are you?
I'm awesome. I mean, I got this beautiful bouquet behind me, teeth chomping roses and everything else. So life's good, man. Life is good.
Yeah. You guys watch any scary movies yet this month?
Oh yeah.
What's the last? Everyone tell me the last scary movie you guys watched.
I watched the 1980s The Thing.
One of my all-time favorites, man. John Carpenter, so good.
Yeah, I thought I was gonna be more scared. Like I thought, because like the practical effects, like terrifying, but also like in such a an artful fashion, it makes you like not be as scared as you might have been.
Yeah.
Like, wow, look at the craftsmanship. Also, that's terrifying.
Yeah, I don't know if it's as scary as it is just awesome and action-packed and going from the start to the finish. Freaking aliens caught in the goddamn ice. Those goddamn Swiss idiots opening up the hole, passing it on to everybody. And then in the end, hey, is Kurt Russell, does he have the thing in him? Who knows? He might. So, God, love the whole entire movie.
Yeah, I'm very glad I watched it.
That's awesome. Technically my most recent was not a movie. It's actually the Creep Show available on. I'm watching it through Prime Video right now. I get all these streaming services mixed up because there's so freaking many these days. But it's actually, I've been enjoying it because it opens up with comic book like panels and then goes right into the show, and I'm like, I love this so much.
Are you watching the new season, or did you go back to like season 1?
Season 1.
Cool.
Yeah. So I am totally digging it, and I love that CGI intro. Give me more of that. I'm just like, ooh.
Yeah.
So yeah, I love this time of the year though. I'm like, Ken, let's watch a movie, and he's like, fine. And then we finish that one. I'm like, let's watch another movie, and he's like, ugh. Okay. Even though sometimes they're Stephen King films.
Exactly.
I'm trying to accommodate.
I was actually just texting with your husband because I just picked this up, the new Stephen King book. Just got it in the mail, so super hyped to read this. It just means I'm going to be even more behind on comics because I'm definitely.
We got to get Stephen King at Rainbow. We got to bring Stephen King to Rainbow.
Yeah, right.
That's what we need to do.
That would be awesome.
We could probably get Joe Hill.
Hey, there you go.
Oh, that's a good idea for SuperCon.
Oh yeah, if you could get Joe Hill, that would be great, man.
Awesome.
Kidding me?
Oh man, Mark, what are you watching?
I did a double feature of Rosemary's Baby from the 60s and then did 30 Days of Night, which I hadn't seen that.
Oh, nice.
I have seen neither of those films.
Oh,
so
really
30 Days of Night. Hey, that's a comic book movie,
yeah,
right?
Steve Niles.
Steve Niles and Ben Templesmith, who was just at SuperCon this year.
Yeah.
So I just talked to him a few weeks ago and had him sign my 30 Days of Night. So that's awesome that you watched that. Very cool, man.
So, guilty confession, I did not make it to his table.
Oh, that's too bad, but it's okay. Honestly, not a lot of people did. I kind of actually felt bad for him. It's the classic SuperCon thing. A lot of people are into anime. A lot of people are into all of their fandoms very, very hard at SuperCon. No doubt about it. But what they're not always into is comic books.
Yeah.
So, unfortunately, even though we had this great artist, Ben Templesmith, who has, had these big movies and these huge roles and these huge books, he was kind of, he did a lot of drawing. So I just got to see him draw a lot because not as many people went to his thing. And it's like, I need to figure out a way how we can, I don't know, get some more people in, at SuperCon to realize what amazing comic artists that are there for these people that don't just always read comics like we do. So, but yeah, anyway, super sick. Now I got one question for you though, Mark. Which movie did you like better, 30 Days a Night or Rosemary's Baby?
Definitely Rosemary's Baby.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you said 30 Days a Night, I'd be like, man, your tastes are shit. Rosemary's Baby is one of the all-timers.
Good.
I mean, as soon as you meet those
I would agree, yeah.
Oh, I mean, those neighbors, you're like, the people that live there, you're already just, something's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't tell you it's wrong, and they just let you keep going with it. But you can just tell there's something wrong. And I mean, I don't mean to spoil this movie from the 1960s for you guys that haven't watched it, but it's about a devil baby. And so, like tricking somebody into having this devil baby, it's crazy good. So yeah, that's so awesome. You watch that, Mark. I'm a huge fan. So that's a great double header too, because Rosemary Baby is kind of like very heady, right? It's very ethereal and in those kind of ways. And then 30 Days a Night is not. It is some fun. Yeah, it's just we got vampires at night. They never have to go home, baby.
Yeah.
Is Rosemary's Baby, is that the one where the nanny kind of gets a bit obsessive and thinks the baby's hers now and kills the family? Or is that Annie Rock the Cradle or whatever that's called?
I think Him That Rocks the Cradle, yeah.
Yeah, okay, because I always get those mixed up. I was like, which movie is that?
Man, I don't think I've seen Him That Rocks the Cradle. I should watch that. I've heard that title, but I've never watched the movie.
Yeah, like that's the one. Like I don't know, man. Like it was like a movie that I was like, "Hey, what's this?" And they go like, "Go upstairs now." I'm like, okay. Yeah, that's basically what I got for that movie. And I was like,
Do you see Mike here? Spoiler time. Next, you will say the shark dies. And John.
Yeah, thank you. I thought the same thing. It wasn't a real spoiler, right? If it's been, if it came out 20 years before I was born.
Yeah.
If
Mike,
the movie's from the 60s, you can definitely like spoil that movie now.
Mike, we miss you on the show, by the way. You should totally come on sometime.
Sorry.
We miss you. Don't forget us, little people, when you make it big. Cool time of the year though. Loving the comics that are coming out. Holy one shots to try out, seasonal offerings from all your favorite series like Turtles and Gargoyles and all that hoo-ha. Shout out to everything. I mean, just television's been fun. I don't know. I just love this time of the year.
Yeah, me too. I always kind of get movie fatigue going into the summer. I'm not really like looking forward to watching movies. I'm outside. I'm doing other things, reading comics.
Yeah.
And then kind of when October comes around, I'm like, I'm ready.
Let's go.
To bust back into it.
Are you guys going to watch Scorsese's new film?
Looks good.
Killers of the Flower Moon?
There's not a chance I'm missing it, Sam. Yeah, I mean,
I'm very excited.
I've even shut my eyes during trailers of it, so I don't spoil anything for me as much because I'm just so excited. I know it's going to be long and it's going to be hopefully really good. Hopefully not a lot of CGI faces like The Irishman, but I'm a big fan of Scorsese, and it's kind of it's actually very similar to this, right? Stephen King is a modern master, right? He's a master of his craft. He will go down in history as a master. And he's still producing a book. He just wrote this right now, right? We don't know how many more of those we have left because he's had such a full life and he's lived such a long time. That's the same thing with Martin Scorsese. How many more movies are we going to get from a modern Marvel or a modern master like Scorsese? So, yeah, to answer your question, Sam, I'm very excited for it, and I wouldn't miss it for the world. And I think it's kind of an event and something to be excited about. Because there will come a day that will pretty soon be like, man, we're never going to get another Scorsese movie. His filmography is completed, and that's going to be in our lifetimes, right? And so I feel like right now you got to go watch them, even if it is a 3-hour Irishman movie on Netflix or whatever.
I liked it still.
I liked it too, but I also hated seeing Robert De Niro in fake young face the entire time. But besides that, I also enjoyed it. I just had to get over the CGI young face that they do to these actors.
Rumor has it, I believe I overheard that SuperCon that the Wednesday Comics guys were saying the same thing about us and about how long our run's going to be for a comic book look because we're getting up there. The words of Alex in particular.
That's what I heard. I heard that as well. Garrett was saying that. So.
Yeah, and Marvin, of course. Oh, I'm just kidding. We love you, Wednesday Comics. Shout out to them. Check them out. We heart them, and we need to have them on again sometime. Chad's checking in with us here. Hey, Chad.
What's up, Chad?
That reminds me really quick here. Actually, no, we're gonna settle that later. We gotta jump to the main course tonight, you guys. And prominently displayed in the background of Tom and in the palm of my hand is something amazing that came out today. What are we talking about, you guys? We are talking about locally made, fully written, and illustrated by Mr. Tom Devine, who is part of this stream.
There it is.
You good, Sam?
Sorry, I was trying to figure out the pointing, and I was trying to point to your comic, and I just like, oh, hang on.
Just
do it
party
all the
over
time,
here.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's opposite. It's always opposite.
Yeah.
Do I want to point to Mark? Then I'm going right here.
Right. But yes, we have new on the shelves today. Spork issue number 4, numero cuatro. Nicely done, Tom, first of all, for hitting the milestone of 4. That is amazing. Going through the journey of putting something together right now, I can only imagine how excited you are. And you had shared your success with online sales so far. Not to mention, I have had people come in special to make an additional trip because it wasn't there when they stopped in earlier, but then they came through today, followed up and got it. And so it's really exciting to see people excited about what you're up to and what you're doing. So first of all, just hats off for that. And yes, for Spork in general, Tom has asked us to interview him because he is indeed a creator. So Tom's doing the writing, he's doing the art, he's doing the publishing, you guys, and the distribution. This guy is a one-man band. Okay. So there's a lot going on here. So Tom, this is not a question for issue 4. This is a question for all of them collectively. What is the timeline from start to finish for one of these puppies?
That's a good question, John. It's been different on each one, but basically how I do it is, comic books, how we've always had it is usually 22 pages of story. That's kind of what the modern comic book is. I mean, there's been times where they try to make cheaper comics down to, 20 pages, or if they go to 32 pages, they'll charge, $4.99 or whatever. But your standard comic is usually 22 pages. And because that's what I've always read every Wednesday, that's what I wanted my comic book, or, mine to be. And it started with this one as Spork #1, and this one isn't really a comic book at all. It has drawings that I did in it, but a lot of it is also just, photoshopping old comics and, hyping my friends and writing articles. The thing from Seth, I wrote like an article, a big one about Queen and Country and comparison of characters. And, it was kind of more like a magazine. But I kind of like what I really liked was kind of putting it together and learning, hey, I can print this and this is how I can lay it out and this is what I can get together and I can work with my friends and they can submit things. And that was really fun. So then for the second one, I wanted to do that, but I was like, I want to make an actual comic. So then that's what I did for the second one. So that first one I was able to put together in about 45 days.
Okay.
And then for the second one, though, I did the old school way of penciling, ink, layouts, penciling, inking, scanning, cleaning up for an 8-page story that starts out the comic about me growing up getting busted from weed from my dad. And it was, that's what I was hoping to do. And then I kind of really liked drawing all those pages and figuring it out. But I did digital words. So I did lettering, digitally. And, while that's how all the comics I read are, it was really fun. There were a few pages where I did letter the words myself, like just by writing them out. And I just thought it gave it a much bigger personality for the kind of thing that I was doing. So then in the third one, it's a much more of that kind of thing, less digital words, a lot of drawings. But at the time, I was going to a lot of like sports games. So I was just kind of like drawing what was around me and not really putting anything together. And so that second one probably took 4 months. The third one probably took, 5 months because I was just kind of like lazy in between. And then this last one, I wanted to kind of tell more of a narrative. I wanted to talk a little bit about what Spork is, and Spork's starting to become kind of this dystopian world, ran by some sort of maybe government that's not on people's side, but say they are. And I'm trying to like mix that into the current things that happen with the world of Spork, or the world around me and what I'm doing. And then I'm trying to say that this is all on the same timeline and what's going to happen with Spork is the future. And so that's like a change. And kind of to put that together, it did take a little bit longer than I probably wanted to. And this one was probably about 7 months that it took me to in between the last Spork and this Spork. And and I would like to get down to doing like 2 or 3 a year. So if I could do them every 4 months, that would be my ideal thing. But it is like, you don't know. And I'm doing it myself, as you guys know. There's some days there's some weeks that go by that I don't work on it or work on anything. So, and then I'll get really hyped. And then there'll be some times where I'll like get 3 pages done in 4 days or 5 days. Right. And it all depends. Yeah.
Oh, heck yeah. I just need to geek out really quick here on some of the things that you touched upon. So first of all, what software are you using to do your page layouts, if you don't mind?
Sure. I use InDesign. I have the Adobe suite. So, and I work with Adobe at work. So I put together like manuals and different things that are much more boring through my job. But it kind of allows me to know how to lay it out and how to use InDesign. And so I use I scan things in on a scanner that I have right here. And then I just always make sure it's just black and white, maybe clean it up a little bit, and then just save the page as a Photoshop file. I don't even change it as that. And then I can, link the Photoshop file to where I want it in InDesign, and then export it using InDesign for the size of paper I want and stuff like that.
Nice. Further geekery here. What is your preferred file type for image?
Yeah, well, I mean, if I'm going to give the photo to someone else or change it, then I'm always going to compress it into a JPEG.
Okay.
I don't like JPEGs, of course, because they are compressed, right? They
Yep.
don't have all the information that you want. But that's what someone else that's going to maybe use them online or something like that. For my personal, if I'm working with a bunch of layers and stuff, I will use just straight up .psds because InDesign will allow me to natively use .psd, so just a raw Photoshop file. If I'm exporting, I will use PNG. PNG will allow me to still get transparent backgrounds.
Yep.
So it kind of depends. The new thing is like WebJ or WebP, and that has a way smaller file size, and they are compressed, but they're compressed for web and they look really good. So it depends on where I'm going to use it.
Okay.
Yeah, that's a great question. And I am also very nerdy about that. So I try them all. And
Sorry, I may or may not be hitting Photoshop right after this. So
yeah, totally. And if you ever have anything, I'm in there all the time. So
my other question for you, and sorry guys, I'm totally like geeking out on this now. Talk to me about the lettering process for you. Just like your process of it. Do you have a piece of software that has the bubbles in it? Did you find the bubbles elsewhere? What does that look like and feel like?
So yeah, I've done it a few different ways, and there's too many choices. That's the problem with it. So I've tried them all. I can do it in Photoshop just fine. I can add the tails in Photoshop with the pen tool using the shape tool. Just make sure you set it at over 600 DPI because we are talking circles. So you technically should be using Illustrator, a vector file format, to build your circles, right?
That's what I was going to ask about. I was like, how much are you dealing with the Illustrator and like the vector style of doing these things? Because like once you condense it down, like you can't like
exactly
vectors are practically gone at that point.
But the thing about Illustrator is that it can be each side. So what you can do with Illustrator is build a library of word bubbles, and then you can kind of use those even if you were using Photoshop or exporting them into a different thing. But the way that I now do it is I just hand draw them, and they're I don't use word bubbles. Honestly, I guess that's the other thing. But when I did, like on this one, all of these have word bubbles, and I have it boxed out, and with this was exporting the Photoshop file that I had and then putting it in InDesign and then building the tails that way. So, and I tried to pick tails that were, I don't know, as you can kind of see right here, they're still rounded. They're not, they're more like a line that goes to a tip. And I try to kind of be like more like cartoony tails, as opposed to like a sharp tail. Or if you look at Spawn or something like that, that's going to be a sharp line. And there's lots of different ways to do the tail. Like even if we look at another book right here, like let's look at this. This is an Archie horror book right here. This is the easiest way, right? Because if I was going to make this tail right here, what do I need to do? I just need to do 3 clicks. Click in the word bubble, click where I want the end of my tail, click back into the word bubble, and it will meet it. And if you want to put a little curve on it, you can use the pen tool to do that in Photoshop. But I've also learned there's no bad ways. And then what's the manga software that everybody uses? Procreate? No, not Procreate.
So the one that I'm using right now for the books is like Comics for Life or something like that, where it just has one style of bubble box, narration box, whatever. But you can't do custom color. So you and me need to go on a little play date here so that you can teach me how to do this so I can do my own stuff.
Definitely. And there is like there's a manga program that is just around that these guys in like Japan use and can create a page or two in one day, including drawing the whole entire page, all of the words, all done in one day. That's an American comic process takes 3 days to do that. Okay. But they can use this software because it's all just way faster and intuitive. And I know a lot of people use that. But yeah, John, we can get together and I'll definitely show you a bunch of the tips.
Teach me your ways.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Sorry, that was all my technical questions. I will shut my mouth here and let the boys jump in.
So, Mr. Devine, it's a pleasure to have you here. Hopefully, your stay has been good. I do have a few questions for you on your wonderful book, Spork. We've all read a few of them, except for me because I forgot the fourth one. I'll be reading it tomorrow.
Nice.
Our first question for you is like, how did you decide to have like every book be a different like format of size? Like,
Sure.
What was the thought process in doing so? Did you have other ideas towards it? What made you kind of come to the consensus of like, let's make every book unique? Because it's a very interesting way to do it.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate the question. And just to jump quick, Mark just commented, Mark Wagner, other friend of Comic Book Look, that it's Manga Studio. So if you are looking at using that program that I was trying to think of, it's Manga Studio. I've never used it though. I know lots of people do. Okay, Sam, that question is great, right? Because this one is a 8.5 by 11 folded in half. So this is just normal printer paper, right? Printed in a booklet. Nothing is cut. As you can see, I have a huge white bleed around everything. So there's the whole entire page. And I was just kind of figuring out this is the easiest way for me to print at the time, but I didn't really like that, right? So then
it's kind of like a pamphlet style to it.
Yeah. Exactly. So on this one, I got 17 by 11 paper, and I made it the exact size of a comic book because I wanted it to be a comic book. But what I'll tell you, what I learned from that, Sam, is it takes so goddamned long to cut all these out, print all this out. I'm wasting so much paper cutting around it that I had that same paper with this one. I actually had the same size paper, but I chose like a glossy one with this one. And this is basically like also a 11 by 17, but kind of just with much less cut out. But I can tell you, after I finished with this, I just didn't like how big it was. It was just too big. It didn't feel right. You know, I have to have a magazine rack if you're gonna put it anywhere. And I liked the comic book size probably the best out of all I've done. So with this one, it's the comic book width, but it's just shorter, and it was just easier to print. And so kind of what's happening, Sam, is I'm just learning. I'm learning as I build these things. I've never done this before. You know, Mark's on this, you know, was listening, but he's done a bunch of zines, and he kind of inspired me to, you know, I was like, fuck it. I can, if you can just throw these zines together, anybody can do it. No, not that many people look at it, and, you know, but it gives you a lot of, you know, I don't know, self-satisfaction when you complete a project. Right. Because don't get me wrong, I'm not making zines like Mark. Mark's zines are already 5,000. His oldest zine is 5,000 times better than anything I'm making. But I'm just saying, I saw, you know, by then Googling zines and what other people are doing, most of them are very easy and trashy, and you can, you know, people can put together a whole entire book in one day and stuff like that. So I was like, well, I can do this. And then it turned out to be really fun. And then so it's like I'm kind of learning. I'm always trying to make it a little bit better. But then I've also had comments on how these are both color. And then when people open it up, there's, you know, no color. I'm not doing color. And I just, every time I color something, it looks so shitty. I just don't have
I understand that pain so much.
So I don't do it. And maybe someday I'll learn how to do that after I kind of learn to draw better. But then with this one, you know, I only used 8.5 by 14, which is way cheaper paper. And then I found this deal online for like a thick paper stock that was nice that they use for printing menus out in restaurants. And I got like 250 sheets for like under $30.
Bless you.
And then in this one, the middle's is yellow. So I kind of switched up the paper color because yellow was on sale for 8.5 by 11. So I was like, sure,
that's amazing.
I'll just get the stuff it's cheaper than white right now. So I scooped up a 500 pack of that for like $21. And so now I can print a whole bunch of copies, you know, right around, you know, 70 or so, whatever 350 divided by 6 is. That's how our or 500 divided by 6. That's how many I can print, right? And so far I've printed like 50 is what I started with, and I still have some leftover paper if I need to. But it's awesome because those have already half gone, right? And are more than half gone. So it's really exciting to have. Thank you everybody who went to Rainbow or bought one online. I really do appreciate it. And if you haven't, they're only $4 and they're free shipping. Yeah. So it cost me like $3 to ship. I don't care. I just really want you to have the book because it's I like I said, I think it's really cool to have other people look at my work. So
heck yeah. I was just taking a peek in it because I hadn't cracked it open yet, and definitely some fun surprises in there. But I'm not going to spoil any of that. What I will ask though is, looking at the pages, I know the answer for technically one of them, but how long does each page take? Because some of them had a lot of detail to them, which was awesome. So I can't spoil, but I'm just curious, like, what does a timetable look like for an average page?
Yeah, well, let's see. Like this took the length of one episode of a comic book look.
This is my shortest page.
So Sam, do you think it looks like you if I just held this here? Would people
that looks like if I still had all my mane, it would be perfect.
And the headphones.
Yes.
So yeah, that page didn't take very long. One day, because I drew it in a comic book look and probably cleaned it up later. But like this page right here, this is a is a trip about me and my wife going to Barcelona and what we did there, and it was awesome. And I mean, I probably took from penciling and coming up with the idea and dazzly putting it together, it probably took me 3 or 4 days. And so that's kind of in between, probably 1 to 4 days is how much a page takes me. But I can tell you that my favorite thing is if the pencils are really firing, and then I just ink right on top of the pencils, and then I just erase those pencils, and I get that done in 1 day, which happens sometimes. Man, that feels so good. But it does take hours and hours and hours. So usually not. I did want to point out, I did get a couple guest artists in this comic.
I wasn't going to spoil it.
Okay, then I won't spoil it.
No, you can spoil it. I just did. It's your book. So.
Yeah, no, I just wanted my daughter Gwen Devine. She drew a page about the first day of school. So I threw that in there, which I thought was really cool. She talks about going to all her classes and like Spork style, like breaks it all down and stuff. So I was pretty proud of that. And then my homie Mark did a Spork picture. So by far the best page there. Pretty cool.
Heck yeah.
But yeah, man, it was really fun to put together.
And thank you. One page I will happily spoil is the Comics by Night thing that made it, and I was so happy.
Of course, I put it in right towards the beginning as well. So
awesome. Dude.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, you were just working on that as we were doing it, and then the next thing I know, it's just on the page online. I'm like, what?
Mark, did you see that?
Work fast, man.
That?
That's really good. Yeah,
it was like the whole table. I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, that made me happy. Oh, well, that's awesome, man. Well, congratulations to you, Tom. This was when I saw your post, I'm like, oh my God, it's happening. So I know you had been lifting it up for a while, but I'm glad you stuck with it, even if it's over a length of time. And knowing how crazy life can be sometimes, again, kudos to you for not doing just one, but 4 physical products. A lot of people have ideas and it doesn't come out of the gate. I hope to not be one of those. So we are pushing to get these 2 projects off the ground coming up. So
of course, man, it's tough. There's no doubt about it.
Kudos to you.
Yeah, I mean, John, you're working with a whole entire team that I am lucky enough that I am just printing on your standard ass printers. I'm just chopping it with, the stuff you get at the store. So it is what I'm doing is very DIY and small scale. John, I know you're working on a much more,
yours is, but you can like draw and stuff. I can't do any of that. So
I'm just saying, man, it's a lot to go through, no doubt about it. And when you have a team, it's even more to manage. So, but yeah, thank you guys for your question. Mark, you got any questions for me, dog?
Yeah, so like, where can someone like myself, and I'm sure maybe someone else watching, where can you get a copy of Spork if you don't live in Sioux Falls?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have a website. I don't usually ever know it. I think it's sporkzinebigcartel.com. Let me see. Yeah. So it's sporkzine.pigcartel.com, and I'll put drop a link here for us. Join the chat. I think I can do that. Can I do that, John?
Oh, I would. Yeah, if you have a good link, because the one that my browser brought up is gross and super gross. It has the product Spork !, and then a bunch of jazz afterwards.
Gotcha.
I don't see an option of just sharing it.
Yeah, no, it looks like I don't know how to do that, but I'll just text it to you guys.
It's on Tom's page though, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But it's just like this. It's Big Cartel is just a website where you can.
Got it.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. But it's just a website that free artists can host products there for free with like limited one picture and stuff like that. So that's what I use. Sporkzine.bigcartel.com. And yeah, there's that's where you can get it. So yeah, you should get one, Mark. I'll send it your way, Doc.
Boom. And I posted it in the link, and it looks like it went to the Rainbow Comics Facebook page or our YouTube channel. Check the comments there. I don't know why it doesn't go to the rest of them, so that's neat.
It definitely, I see it in the YouTube one though, John. So nice work.
Good. Yes.
I have 1.5 questions for you though, Tom.
Yeah.
Okay. First one is just where did the name Spork come from? Like, where'd that come from?
Oof. I'm not sure. I was trying to think of the. Right? I was trying to. Well, no, I know where it came from. I have had this idea for a comic book for a very, very long time. Possibly it started as maybe a comic book, but I'm still thinking maybe I'll do a short film about it. And it all revolves around a spork, a guy who's obsessed with sporks. He can't get girls. He ends up, whatever. There's this, every time he has a date, he just ends up bringing his own spork to the nice dinner, keeps talking about how sporks are so great. He, can't seem to find love this way because he can't get a second date because of this, has everything together in life, but just can't find happiness, but he does love sporks. And then it kind of goes into this thing of, and this is like something that I've kind of written down and played around with, and I don't want to spoil the end. So, but he gets called to this other place where everybody likes sports. And this has kind of been like this fun indie movie, or, maybe I'd make it into a comic or something, a story that I've had in my head for a long time. And I still haven't done it. I still don't think I'm skilled enough to tell the story how I want to. So, with that, I was like, well, then I'm just going to call this zine Spork, because I was like, well, it's just kind of a weird name. I don't think there's anything else called Spork, even though I guess if you Google Spork zine, you can get like a gender bending zine from 1995 that talks about gender equality and stuff like that. And it's all about gender in 1995, and it's called Spork zine. So it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm in a cool legacy of cool.
I want to read that now.
25 years ago. But no, I didn't know about that at all. But yeah, so then I just kind of, from that short story, I was like, well, I feel like that's a good word that is, I don't know, not used. It's unique. It's, I don't know, something that people would question why is it called that? And I would like that question.
Okay.
So first off, we need to get A24 on to make Spork with you, because that sounds like an A24 film front and center.
Yeah, come on, A24, Anna Perina, come on, give me a call. I want to make
that needs to happen now. Someone hit up Tom. And the second question is, what kind of music are we listening to when we're working on Spork?
Oh, that's a great question. Definitely listening to music. Watching films and stuff like that too, but definitely listening to a lot of music, and it depends on my mood. But I listen to a lot of a band called King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, and then I also it's a funny name, but King Giz is kind of what they go by. They just had a really heavy album, and now they just put out like an electronic LP. But I'm just really into it. I love that shit. I love this band called this guy called Ty Segall, and all his different side projects. And that's probably what I'm listening to the most is he has a song called Eggman. I was just telling Sam about it a couple weeks ago. But then, so I definitely been listening to not Eggman, but all of his other stuff, Hello Hi. And then I listened to jam bands. So Fish, Grateful Dead.
Spin Doctors?
Yeah, no, not too much Spin Doctors. I've seen Spin Doctors live multiple times because they play at all the hippie festivals. But no, I don't, definitely a great live show. I like getting to some real face melting jams that, my dad calls elevator music, but they entrance me so much. And I'm a big weed smoker. So that always, helps the flow, the jam bands, loving them. And then I also listen to a lot of rap and hip hop that I grew up with, straight hard gangster stuff that I just, I can't maybe relate to in my life, but I truly do love it. And, it is embarrassing saying that in front of Mark because he lives like outside of Memphis, or, he lives in Tennessee, but I listen to Memphis hip hop through and through. 666 Mafia, Project Pat, Juicy J, all of those. That's like all the time I'm throwing that stuff on. So yeah, man, that's probably what I listen to. Great question.
That's all I have, guys. Unless you guys got some more questions, I usually just like to see what people's like processes are on these things, and like what are they doing to also like hit that other part of their brain. Because if they're anybody like me, like you're working on something, but you also need something over here too.
Yeah,
that might be like the ADHD brain, but like it just works, and music's perfect for that.
Yeah, exactly. Or 80s action movies that I've seen before. That's also one of my go-tos.
Yeah. Watch Commando about 10 million times over.
Exactly.
Love it.
Mark, did you have any extra questions?
Oh man, I just got to get my hands on a copy of Spork so I know what we're talking about exactly.
Oh, that's awesome.
Sounds awesome though.
Yep. Well, very good. Well, Tom, I'd thank you for being on the show, but you're an awesome part of the show. So thank you for being awesome. And
thanks for interviewing me, guys. It was a fun idea. All right, let's lift up some comics we got today.
Are you like enough?
Yeah.
Enough of the spotlight.
And did you guys see the comic shop news? Very fun cover.
Ooh, I got one too. Dude, yeah, that was sick.
I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. That was one issue I could not pass up.
Yep.
Looking at the old Clockaroo, I guess we could do maybe 2 each and just kind of fly through them.
Yeah, that's what I think.
Tonight.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Sam, what you got?
Me first? Okay. So I'm gonna start with something that warms my heart that this is coming back a little bit, and that is Golden Age superheroes from DC. That not only are they bringing back Sandman, not only are they bringing back the Sentry, they're also headlining Jay Garrett again. Well, like that's awesome.
Golden Age, baby, let's do it.
Yeah, I'm not the hugest fan of him getting a daughter, not because I don't want her to exist as a character, but like one of his main motivations is that, yes, I have to preface these things, is that like he never had kids. So that's why he always was a mentor to younger ones. So I always thought that was a cool part of his character, and giving a daughter kind of defeats that. But if it gives me a Jay Garrett story, I'm there for it. I don't care. Let's go. Oh. So I'm just really excited to see Golden Age characters and coming back. Like I didn't know this was happening, but I'm here for it.
Woo. Love it, Sam. Love it.
Preach. Mark, what you
got?
I
agree. We need to really start a big strike against just new female characters. I hate them. All female characters. Let's keep them out of our comics. Am I right, boys?
No.
Probably not. I'm just kidding. No, sorry.
I don't want to be out of context on that one. Sorry, man.
We can't even joke about that a little bit. Jeez, guys. I'm just kidding.
Hey, man, they could clip me going like, oh, totally, man. Oh, totally. It's like, there he is.
Oh, no.
I love just saying things like that and watching all three of you guys get uncomfortable.
I was like literally like melting. I don't know. Oh, man.
Sorry, Sam.
No, it's okay. I knew you were joking.
That's awesome. Mark, what you got?
Cool. Got Beneath the Trees Where Nobody Sees, and it was really freaking good. I did read this. It's by IDW, and I'm going to be honest, a lot of stuff I read from IDW sometimes kind of sucks, but this was amazing right here. Very much in the same vein of like a Berenstain Bears book, or like a just your like children's book where like they go through the town and they introduce all these simple way of life, and it's real cutesy. But then it's that style, but then there is a character who is committing murders, and we don't really know the motive of why they're committing murders. As you can see, they're carrying a bloody bag right there, but this was just amazing right here. I loved this book. I can't wait for more.
That's funny that it just looks like a kid's book, or very fairy tale style, and it's about killing. That's good. Cool. That's cool. I didn't see that, man. I might have to check that one.
Awesome possum. Tom, what you got?
I got our homie friend of the show, Winston Gambro, did the design on this book. We got Dwellings #2. I just think this is a really cool book. Oni's putting it out. Also, just to piggyback off of Mark's, right? We're talking funny, cartoony style art that is very demented. I think we just passed somebody cutting off someone's head, but it's very funny, right? So this is the same kind of thing, but it is really good. I haven't read this one obviously yet. It just came out today, but the first one was awesome. So can't wait to crack into this. Dwellings, Oni Press.
Yeah. All right. Well, I like all things spooky and fun and Marvel. So Crypt of Shadows #1 came out, and I couldn't say no to either one. So I got both of them. I am so freaking pumped about this, though, you guys. It comes out once a year. Marvel literally posted something on the socials earlier saying the crypt is now open as of October 18th. So you can tell they're having fun with it. I will say my one feedback is that the lack of variant covers I find disturbing. I would like to have more of them, and I don't know. It's because Marvel is really pushing the scary vein right now. Blade is appearing in Miles Morales this week.
Sick.
What? And Bloodline, for that matter. So like vampires are all of a sudden everywhere, which I think is amazing. So of course I got that too. But I'm just saying, if it works, then do more of the right thing. Right? Yeah.
You're right.
So, I just need more covers. All right, Sam, what you got? Second book.
I guess for the sake of we're only doing 2, but I do remember on a previous stream you guys had
we gotta settle it if you got it.
So I had what Titans book did Sam get?
Yay!
It had Cyborg playing D&D on it, so it had that. It had that, and I read it right before the stream. Good book.
Nice. Hell yeah!
But that's not what I'm going to talk about today, because we all know about Titans. We all know it's good.
We all know your love for Cyborg. Not be qualmed.
But the one I picked up on is Sensational She-Hulk 1.
Nice. Cover.
I skipped out on the last She-Hulk because I didn't think I was going to care. But then it was like all about like a kind of more slice of life story where it's all about her as a character, and just kind of like it's supposed to be a funnier book. And I was like, I could have gone for something like that. Now that I completely missed on it, and they're like, well, we're bringing it back, and it's like, well, I'm not missing it now. Right. So Sensational She-Hulk 1. I'm very excited to see this. It's pretty much the same same creative team all around on it. Can't wait to do it and read that.
Yeah. You guys let me know if that's good or not. I have the previous run. I haven't finished reading it yet. I'm about halfway through it right now. Shout out to Jack of Hearts.
South Dakota superhero.
South Dakota Avenger. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be curious to see how that treats you, and if I should be picking that up or not. Cool. Mark, what you got?
You got Headless Horseman. This one out by Dark Horse. I think it was like an annual of some sort. Headless Horseman Halloween.
Yeah, it was like an anthology or something. I think that looked cool.
Yes, I have read it. It's phenomenal. If you want some good Halloween comics, 100% highly recommend this. Just great stuff. I wouldn't, if you've watched a lot of like anthology Halloween movies and horror movies, I wouldn't say it's too far away from things that you might have already seen, but still really, really good, really, really fun.
Yeah,
loved it.
Yeah.
Wasn't there a variant by Mike Mignola for that book?
I think there was 3 different covers. I think like cover C looked phenomenal. It had, I had pre-ordered this, and this was the only thing that came in. So, but yeah, there were some other great covers I saw in Previews World.
Yeah, because like I had a customer buy that, and it looked like Hellboy. I'm like, oh, this is that new Hellboy book, and they're like, no, it's not. I'm like, oh, well, it certainly looks like it by the cover.
Yeah,
You know
it's
exactly what
Dark
art
Horse.
style that is when you know it.
Yeah, exactly. Mignola. And it was. I know exactly which one you're talking about. It was still there when I was at the shop. And I was like, oh, am I going to scoop this up? But, ended up passing on.
All right, Thomas, what you got?
Well, and I passed on it because there's a bunch of big books. That Dwellings would cost $9.99. It's like it has like a binding, and there's like words on the side and stuff, like right here and stuff. So it's a big book. And then it was like this big book was freaking huge too. And this was $7.99. So I was like, I was already freaking $20 in after two, but it's a new book, a Dark Horse, right in the back of Mark with another Dark Horse book. But it's written by Matt Kent, and there's a rule I have. If Matt Kent writes it, I read it. I just do think I like his heady style of writing, and being not he'll break the third wall, the fourth wall, he'll go meta, he'll have some different interesting takes on it. There could be puzzles in his comic. There's all sorts of different things that he does, but at the end of the day, it's always like really fun. And since he wrote Mind Management, I've really kind of just been a fan of his. And so this is the new one. Subgenre is the name of it. If you kind of hard to see there when it's like this, but you can already tell something's going to be going on with this guy, different styles. I was able to read the first couple pages, and it's a sci-fi book, which I didn't expect. And I wanted to just show this one scene, because when it goes to this scene, it's kind of about this hard-boiled detective right here. But as you can see, he's like living in a world of like android people, and like everybody's wearing, screens on their eyes, and different style, like ventilation masks and stuff like that. And I guess I didn't really think that was going to happen. So it was kind of makes me nervous, because it's like, is that not always a genre that I want from Matt Kent, but it's also like could be really cool, this hard-boiled detective in this transmetropolitan style world. I'm down with it. So
kind of sounds like that awesome old Moebius books.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I'm sure there's all of the Sam, all of the comics that I like are usually probably takes on old Moebius books. So yeah.
What else is Kent written?
A ton of stuff. So his last one was Super Spy. It's those books that had the Costco that their covers looked like paper bags from Costco. And that was really cool. And then he has just done a ton of books. They're always through Dark Horse for the most part. He was writing Berserker as well, like Keanu Reeves. That one is like they kind of hooked that up. And I always thought the reason that Berserker ended up being like I could like it is because Keanu Reeves didn't just write it himself. He hooked up with Matt Kent to write that thing. But there's a ton of them. But Mind Management is my favorite book that he has done. And he drew that one. And his drawing style is really shitty. But it just does a really good job at telling the story. And I think he would admit that. Like, I think he likes working with other people because he has a very simple, rudimentary, way of drawing comics. But for Mind Management, it ended up working really well. And it was all about secondary messaging, getting to people, and secret messages, and how the brain reacts to different stimuli, and how we are getting through from what we see, what we hear, smell, eat, and how it affects what's going to happen in our day and how things are happening. And he's exploring all these weird things in comic books. So you should check him out, Sam. I think you'd like him.
I'll definitely have to now. Yeah. You certainly sold me on it.
Boom. All right. Well, my final book of the night comes from my good friends at the Archie Horror Empire.
Yeah.
One shot. I already know I'm going to like this because I have read issue after issue after issue from this imprint. And specifically, I love the letters from the editors at the end of it, because they lift up their creative team and talk about why they were chosen for the project. And I think that is so cool. And so love this. And just shout out to the creative team on all of these titles. If you guys aren't checking out Archie horror books, definitely give it a try. It is so much fun. At Rainbow Comics in Sioux Falls, I have them specially marked on their little end cap there with signs pointing you to the boxes that they live in. So definitely scoop some up and give it a try.
Hell yeah, man. Awesome, John.
Well, cool. That was all that I had tonight for content. Boys, did you have anything else you wanted to lift up?
Something, Kill Your Darlings came out with issue 2.
That covers, oh my God, and the back of it, the back art, yeah.
It's just another. I think this will be the next Something's Killing the Children.
Nice.
So we're only on issue 2, everybody. So get on it now before you're like 40 issues behind,
bro.
But yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've been eyeballing that one. Get it? I actually literally did not mean for that to happen until I said it, and then I was like, I'm gonna save it with a joke. It's fine. But no, it's one that is of interest, and I hope to be able to check it out. But my pull box right now is very unhappy, so we'll see. Yeah. Cool. Well, without any further news, I suppose we'll wrap it up here. We started a little late. We're nearing that hour mark. We had a really great show tonight. Again, if you guys
hour mark.
Hey.
So,
if you guys did miss the first portion of our show, definitely check out Spork issue number 4. Link is in the comments on the Rainbow Comics Facebook page and our YouTube channel, A Comic Book Look. So definitely check it out. Or if you're just listening, sporkzine.bigcartel.com/products/spork-4.
Or just sporkzine.bigcartel.com. You can't miss it if you go there.
And then you can get all the other issues too.
Yeah.
So definitely check it out though, you guys. Tom has definitely outdone himself with the artwork on here. I was kind of giggling. I was looking through it while we were talking earlier too, and I love that Jared made it.
Yes. Yep.
It's awesome.
My boy Jared is a fun double pager. This was an adventure that me and my friend, we drove from Sioux Falls to Orlando, and it was quite the adventure. So
that is so amazing. So definitely check it out, you guys. Tom works really hard on these, and he just makes it look just so effortless and easy, and it takes time. And so thank you for answering our questions today during the interview. For those of you just tuning in, definitely hit the replay, check it out. Tom goes into the process, the technical stuff, the schedule stuff, the balancing with life stuff, all that goodness. So this is a really fun interview tonight. And boys, as always, it's good to see all of you. So with that, I guess I'll shut down the show. Collectively on the lines, we are @ A Comic Book Look. You can find me @ John on Demand on the Instas and X's. Ugh. And then Tom, same thing, @ Tom Sue Devine on the X's and Instas. @ Nullman12 on the TikToks if you want to look for some viral comic book reviews. And then Mark C. Shelton 1 with the @ on most platforms except for the one that I always mess up. If you're tuning in through YouTube, please consider checking out our Facebook group, A Comic Book Look. We'd love to continue the conversation there. Until next time, we are A Comic Book Look, and I hit you with the traditional keep it comics, and then I pass it to Mark, who's actually here, who's going to give us the real and authentic.
Bagging and boarding's never boring.
Boom. And we'll be with you guys next time. Also, Mark, you got to watch the replays and hear those other impressions of you.
I did one last time. That was interesting.
It reminded me of Jasper off The Simpsons.
That's the best I could do with about the 2 seconds I was given to do it. It's like, oh my God.
That's amazing. All right. Well, we're gonna wrap it up, and we'll probably keep talking after this.